Segment two, Golden Black Live, joined by two very special guests, Dr. Patrick Tutka and Dr. Jeannie Boyd, also uh, doing something very important, at least in my world, and that's bringing a Purdue graduate level sport management program. And that's, am I right, Patrick, to say it is a graduate level? Is not, there's no undergrad, correct? Okay, so I
Yes.
want to make sure I understood that from the jump. But it is a new program, and we're going to delve into that here in this segment with these two folks about this. And it really is, it's something, as a Purdue graduate way back in the dark ages, it kind of has been worked out to being formulated, but it now really has some teeth, has some experts behind it, and a very important thing that for these two folks is that people that have been in the field and know what it's like to be sports administrators at high levels. And I think that's an extremely important thing. And Patrick, I'll start with you. We're going to kind of ping pong back and forth. But, just in terms of the inspiration and what got you to Purdue, but also the ability to develop a program like this at a Power Four school, one of the largest and most appreciated land grant schools in the country.
So I grew up in Big Ten country. I grew up in Michigan, and so if you grew up in Big Ten country, you can't help but associate anything Big Ten as the best and brightest. And I don't say that from anything other than a true, honest. I grew up rooting for Michigan. That's, I know, a bad word around here, but I grew up in rooting for those teams and the Rose Bowl and all the pageantry of the Big Ten and all those pieces. So this opportunity was offered to me a little bit over a year ago now to come in and work with Dr. Boyd or with Jeannie. I always call her Dr. Boyd when I'm in professional circles. So forgive me. I'll back up and say Jeannie.
You're good.
Work with Jeannie on this opportunity. The things that attracted me to this are really simple. Number one is the investment of the athletic department. When Jeannie was right there from basically day one with me to build this out, that showed me right away that the athletic department was heavily invested, which in our world, opportunities for students is everything. And so knowing that the athletic department was seriously invested, whether that was shadowing opportunities, whether that was coming in and speaking to classes, whether that was, any of those pieces was huge for us. And then similar investment from, the Indianapolis community, whether that's the Sports Corp, whether that's the Pacers, whether that's the Colts, whether that's the Indy Ignite, whether that's Grand Park, whether that's Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Similar investment, down there, which is equally as important, especially with Purdue University, Indianapolis, and the opportunity to host this on both campuses. So the opportunity to, have a footprint here, a footprint there, that's really an amazing opportunity. And then personally, as someone who, came through the true academic circle of the world of PhDs and coming from LSU with my PhD and then spending 8.5 years at a little university up in New York called Niagara University, the opportunity to build something like this at a Big Ten institution, top 50 institution in the United States, one of the premier institutions in the Big Ten, is something that you dream about as a faculty member, the opportunity to come in and just be able to put your little stamp on this incredible university and all the amazing things that they do. And Dr. Boyd has been kind enough to allow me to, lead a lot of the curriculum charge of developing curriculum and developing the classwork stuff, and has supported me in some of my adventures, and so I appreciate that immensely. But that's also made it a lot of fun, and working with Jeannie is as easy as it gets from our perspective because we're both event management backgrounds. So we both get the perspective of we just got to get it done, which sometimes is not how academia works at all, as Jeannie has found out. That academia does not move in the just get it done fashion. It takes quite a while for things to happen, but it's just a lot of fun to work with people who get it. And I remember sitting down with Mike Levinsky on the very first day of my very first day here on campus, and Mike was just so passionately excited about this happening. It just was like the greatest welcoming in the entire world. I'm sitting up in the press box at the food tasting last year, and I mean he's excited. You can tell he's genuinely excited about that. And when the athletic director is genuinely excited about that, that means the momentum is huge inside the program, and that's what we've seen the entire time. And it's been a huge part of why I'm here and why I'm part of this.
Yeah, and I think experience and the opportunity for students to have experience. These programs are nothing if you don't have that. I mean, you've got to have that experience going in. And being from Niagara, home of Calvin Murphy, right? So and
Hubie Brown,
but
they take great pride,
right, and find some good basketball tradition. Not to mention those falls that are just across the street. But no, that's a neat opportunity to come to Purdue and bring your event management. It's interesting that both of you are of that background, and both LSU PhD folks, if I read your resumes right.
Yes.
But I think one of the things in these programs, and they have popped up around the country. The opportunity to make this unique and to make this different, maybe, or there's a number of them. Ohio University is probably one of the originals and grand standards of all this, and there are others certainly around the country. But what's that challenge for you in terms of how do you make this unique for Purdue?
Do you want me to take that one?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jeannie, I'm sorry. The rest of you, go ahead.
Oh. I think there are a lot of things that set us apart. One of them is, as Patrick mentioned, the industry connections. And so Patrick's responsibility, as I make the analogy to the athletic department, he's the internal operations person. So he's managing the curriculum, he's managing the course structure, he's managing the accreditation process, everything that's internal and academic, if you will. And I think that's why we complement one another really well. So my role really is more of an external person, in a sense of industry connections, making sure that our curriculum is relevant. It's not talking about, although we will have a history class, and I tease Patrick about it because he does teach the history class, but there's a good time and place for that, obviously, because that holds a lot of significance. But Patrick and I are both on a little group that is helping the sports corp down in Indianapolis. They've identified that, hey, there's a huge gap between what the industry needs and what these students are coming out of different, programs. They're just not ready, and not ready in a lot of different ways. And I think one of them is the practicum piece. The other is a little bit of professional development, setting proper expectations. And I also think that athletics is a little bit different, regardless if you're in youth, semi-pro, pro, high school, college, or anything and everything in between. It's such a highly relational business in a sense that by the time the job is posted, 99% of those jobs, people already know who they want to hire. And it's because they've watched them work, have been in the trenches and worked alongside of them, or they know somebody who knows somebody. So what we want to do is lay that foundation for our students. So when they graduate, they'll have, number one, a good foundational and get rooted in academia, but they'll also have the complementary hands-on experience based on their specific area of interest, by the way. And have had the opportunity to work alongside professionals in the workforce and establish those relationships. So I think that's what's going to set us apart.
Yeah, I think it is so much that. I mean, in understanding what from communication skills, like you mentioned, to writing skills, to being able to communicate your message. And both of you guys with your event, Jeannie, I know spent all those years at the NCAA. Again, having to put on major events and the ability to have attention to detail, be able to relate to other people. It's not all about understanding marketing theory and being able to do this. It's about being able to talk to others and figure out a plan that can work. You mentioned, you guys have kind of hit on Purdue athletics, but Patrick, specifically on curriculum. what things do you want to develop that Jeannie talked about some of the things that are deficient with students today, but give us, if you have examples at this point of things that you want to offer students that's going to really help to prepare them the best they can from an academic standpoint to go into the real world.
Dr. Boyd mentioned that the idea that there's this whole, group of students that are out there that are trying to get into this industry that don't have the skills, even if they're graduating from a lot of these programs. So, I always tell our students, wherever I've been in my life, I can get you to the interview. You got to get the job. And so it's those skills, right? It's the soft skills of being able to write a good cover letter, being able to write a good be a clean resume, a good email, or being able to communicate with people in a professional manner, and then just setting a good tone from the second you walk through the door, for people and how they view the world and how they view you. Doing the research on who's going to be in the room with you, so that when you interview, everything, things about the people who are sitting down with you, so that you're doing those little things really well. And those are things I think that are going to build in. We're in process of adding a third person to our crew, which we're excited about. And they'll be looking at experiential learning in particular, which will allow us to focus in on a lot of those, I don't know if I'd say soft skills, but a lot of those kind of non-directly in the classroom skills that I think are really important. But also, the commitment of Purdue and the commitment of our many partners to be those people who are willing to do mock interviews, and being those people who are willing to also overlook resumes and provide some guidance and some structure, so that these students aren't walking out the door with no no knowledge of what it is that's going on, or no understanding. They're walking out the door with a full picture of what it's like in this industry, because one of the things that I always have found is that you can send students to career services at any institution, and a sport resume is a very different resume than a lot of other career paths, because things that we may not put on a regular resume, like the fact that you did a one-off volunteer job opportunity here, or you did you worked a Super Bowl or whatever the case is. All of those sudden, those things start showing up on a sport resume, because people are looking for those volunteer opportunities, looking for those things where you show that you are dedicated and committed to this, because they want to take on people, especially if they don't. Dr. Boyd talked about that 95%, but there's that 5% where they are truly hiring, and they don't know who they're hiring. So they're making phone calls and they're trying to figure out about things, so they can see that you're dedicated. You're going to move on to that second stack of resumes, where they're going to interview you, and they're going to give you that chance to prove yourself. And I think that's the really fun part of what we do here, and that's the fun part of seeing our students grow and develop.
I think it's absolutely true. When you look at, Jeannie, and your ability to forge partnerships, you talk about the Lamb School of Business, the Lamb School of Communication, the Daniels School as well. Is it a case of walk before you run? Where are you in that process? I mean, I know this has been an ongoing challenge to get the plane off the ground, but talk about that and your aspirations, because Purdue's got even I don't know. I'm just throwing out things like engineering. There may be
for sure.
facilities related stuff, but talk about that and what you hope to get done as you delve into the academic world.
It's funny you asked that, because I told Patrick the other day, I feel like we're flying the plane while we're building it a little bit. I mean, we're almost like staying one chapter ahead. And on one hand, again, as operations folks, we don't want to leave any detail like not addressed or whatever. But the flip side of that is, I think we also have to be kind of kind to ourselves and realistic, in a sense that at the end of the day, typically this program, or not just this program, but any program to be added to, a higher institution, institution of higher education, takes typically 2 or 2.5 years, and we did it under a year. And again, kudos to Patrick. I mean, he built every syllabus, he built every learning plan, he built all of that while, again, I was out working with a external folks and trying to kind of forge our pathway a little bit and kind of set,
Yeah.
the tone and foundation, and doing soft reaches with just a cross section of industry partners. So um, I've been really pleased with those industry partners that are, I mean, bending over backwards, and they've just shown so much enthusiasm, and they want to be involved with it. They're like, heck yes, we definitely need additional, boots on the ground, hands on. We've got all these different opportunities. I mean, Division One, Two, and Three, NIT basketball is all going to be in Indianapolis this year, and
Yeah.
the Sports Corp. Plus, Big Ten, you've got the Horizon League, you've got the National High School Federation.
Yeah.
All of those folks have agreed again to be partners with us. And what that means again is whether it's coming and being a guest speaker or serving as a mentor, we're in the process right now of building an advisory board, which will be again a cross section of representation of different levels of sport and types of sport, that they're going to serve regularly to kind of check in with the curriculum to make it sure that we're staying relevant and on trend, and even addressing like emerging trends. What do we see coming down the pike? But we're just we're a small part of it. We're going to have locations in both West Lafayette and down in Indianapolis, so we'll be there full time as well. Eventually, probably beginning in the next fall, right, Patrick?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. And so just to have those partnerships and those opportunities where we can look to the industry and say, hey, what do you need? And then make sure our students are prepared and they're leaders, and they're sought after, as graduates, they're trusted colleagues. That's our goal for sure. And I think it's absolutely attainable.
Well, it's interesting because where West Lafayette and where Purdue sits, I mean, Indianapolis is arguably, since going back to the late '70s, when it started to be the amateur capital, amateur sports capital of the world, and that in Colorado Springs, I suppose too. But it has, you've got a lot of opportunity, and with your background too in the NCAA and being down there and living there and being part of that, I see it. Not to put pressure on you, but there's a high level of opportunity and success there. So I think you're well suited for that.
We hope we've set the tone coming out of the gate. We have 2 adjuncts right now that again are specialists and nationally known as being the best of the best. So we've hired 2 adjuncts this semester. One of them is a gentleman named Mike Fox, who ran the RCA Dome. He was the stadium manager for the RCA Dome.
Right.
Then he helped build the little tunnel from the convention center to Lucas Oil Stadium. He was a stadium manager for several years at Lucas Oil Stadium and also the Indiana Motor Speedway. And so he has run Super Bowls and countless, Final Fours and convention. I mean, just anything and everything that's come to that downtown area, he's been involved with in some way, shape, or form. So to have somebody who, again, has all of those connections in that area of specialization, is really special, and it's a game changer for our students. And then we have Joe Crowander, who is teaching our sport business class, and he works for the athletic department and Playfly and Aspire.
Yeah.
So he's bringing these real world examples and connections and merging the theoretical to the practical.
And to add, if I can, just 1 second on that with Joe is, he's not just Purdue. He is multiple universities around the country. So he not only brings what's happening at Purdue, but he brings those knowledge bases from all of his other clients that he works with currently, and also from his previous experiences, and the fact that Playfly Aspire has such a wide breadth of schools, from the very top to the very, I don't want to say bottom, like it's a bad thing, but from the very top to the very, the schools that are struggling to sell tickets to the schools that are selling out everything. And so that provides a kind of a really unique background for someone who wants to learn about that side of the world. And when you're trying to talk business, you're talking finances, people kind of get a little glazed over sometimes. And he can make it real for them in a way that is just makes it very enjoyable for students. And the feedback so far has been incredibly positive. And that's
And
been
so
fun.
in this situation, again, I mean, you could have, like Patrick is saying, you could have folks get up and lecture and all of that. But what we've created here with our partnership with Purdue Athletics and beyond is a real life laboratory. I mean, they're learning in real time. They have real examples. They're being thrown in the, into the fire a little bit, by forcing, different activities and experiential learning. And again, I think that's what's going to set us apart. That's what I'm
Yeah,
most excited about.
and I think it's, in the wonderful world of higher education, finance. I'm talking at the college level, but even in when you look at professional sports and dealing with partnerships with cities and getting facilities built, or there's any number of very complicated challenges that
Right.
again, master's level folks that they're going to go into the field need to have a working knowledge of. I mean, I think that's it. It does come down to money, as we're all aware, and I think that part of it is very, very important. I wanted to ask, and we've got a few minutes left here, but on the size of how many students will you have in a typical class? And then I'll throw I do want to get the technology innovation, where both of you guys think this world is going in terms of AI. If you can tell me, I'm all ears. But first, Patrick, what's class size when you have a typical class that comes in?
So
Not just for
as
class, what are you
we
looking for?
build, we'll probably be eventually at between 30 and 50 students a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of depending on how things split out between West Lafayette and Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously potential for, depending on how we choose to operate, we could operate kind of as two dual situations. We could operate as one big program. These are conversations that are still happening. We have a plan, but some of those conversations are happening, outside of our planning world. So that's part of academia. You learn
That's
those
right.
things. You learn those things very early. And so you're always flexing to try to figure that out. But that's kind of where we expect to be. That's what we can support with our opportunities. I feel very comfortable, between Purdue Athletics, between the various partners that we have in Indianapolis, and some of our students will bring their own experiences with them, or will be GAs in whether it's GAing here at Purdue or GAing with one of our partners. So there'll be some of those who will bring their kind of experiences with them. So that will also provide just a few less people that we have to particularly go provide a full-on experience for. But Dr. Boyd and myself have both been very big about even those people. So we have for example, we have volleyball GA right now, and we've pushed them and said, we really want you to go experience something else while you're here too. We don't want you to just because you got this opportunity, which is an amazing opportunity, don't get me wrong, and we want you to take full advantage of that opportunity. But we also want you to go explore something else, just to get your feet wet. If nothing else, you learn a little bit something about another part of the industry. Best case scenario, you get a skill that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten that helps you down the road, or maybe provide you with a career path down the road. And I think that's also something that I give immense credit to Jeannie for, which is Jeannie very much in her very first initial proposal, back even before I was hired, pushed for this idea of a professional growth plan, which was this idea that each individual student's going to have a professional growth plan, and we're going to monitor that growth plan to try to make sure that students are growing, whether that's what we've already talked about from resumes and interviews and all those things, but also from the experiential side of how are we getting these students through the program and making sure that they have true, not just internships, because that word is out there, and we intentionally didn't use it, but true real world practical experiences where they actually get to do things instead of just go fold up newsletters and or whatever other mundane jobs and call it an experience. And that's the last thing that we want them to do. We want them to go experience the real side of this industry, and we've had the support to be able to do so because of her incredible work.
So, Alan, if I
I think go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Right.
I was just going to say that one of the things that Patrick alluded to is once students are accepted into the program, they have to complete that personal growth or development plan. And it identifies
Yeah, good.
areas of interest or specialization, but also areas where they feel that they have gaps coming in. Like right now, again, I hate public speaking. I don't like it. I would want to, use this as an opportunity to challenge, right? Challenge and learn how to do it. Learn from professionals who are doing it every day. Their tips and hints, and also their journey, I think, is helpful. Kind of hearing how they've maneuvered through along the way. But so we'll sit down with them and say, hey, where do you want to be? So everybody has to take 6 core courses, regardless of that area of specialization. But the remaining balance is completely personalized to the individual. So
Yeah.
they have 4 electives plus 450 hours, which equates to another 6 credit hours, or 2 classes worth of specialized hands-on learning. So for example, if somebody said, hey, I want to get in and be a sport information director, those electives would most likely come from, the Lamb School of Communications. And all of that individual's hands-on learning would be, maybe with the Colts in their, sport information or media relations department. And
Yeah.
we want to give them, again, a cross section of opportunities. And if the other hope is that if they get into a thing and go, oh, I thought I liked this, but I don't, they still have time to pivot and dip their toe in the water in a couple of different options. So, and opportunities. So
And
again,
we
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to be really fun.
and we have
Yeah,
a
I think
student.
I think to be able to formulate that and move that along. Go ahead, Patrick. Go ahead.
Well, and we had a student yesterday. I had our event management staff from Purdue in yesterday. So we had a student yesterday before class, meeting with them, talking about how he can get his initial experiential piece set up with them, because he wants to work in event management and event services. And so, one of the things that's exciting for me is these initial conversations have led students to already start to drive forward on, okay, I need to connect with this person. I need to have this conversation, and they are comfortable doing so, which is a really great compliment to the people that are around this university, and how friendly they are with their time and with their willingness to communicate with our students. But also a great compliment to these students because they come in, they don't know anybody. I mean, they're coming in completely cold. Thankfully we were able to have, with the support of the athletic department, a really nice welcome event on the first Friday before the start of the semester. But outside of the people who were at that welcome event, they know none of these people, and so they're meeting them for the first time, and they're willing to communicate, and the people here are willing to work with them to try to make sure that they're set up for success and set up to be able to do what they need to do.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely key. It is a game of, as you guys have well outlined, meeting people, doing what you say you're going to do, but have the experience to do so. The good thing is, and Jeannie knows, having been here for nearly a decade, is that it is a good place. People are helpful, and most people want to be able to share their experiences and what made them work. And I think it's the proverbial giving back. I think you'll do a great job of taking advantages. This interview is part 1, not for today, but I'm going to drill you guys every semester. So we're going to at least do this because I think this is an evolving story, and I think it's very, very important because there's a lot of topics we didn't get to from that wonderful world of revenue share and NIL, and how that's going to become part of the curriculum. We'll do that next semester, but we appreciate that. We appreciate you guys so much. Best of luck herding cats in the world of academia, which is maybe a little bit of that, but all the wonderful people. And Patrick, you're finding us out, and Jeannie knows this now, having been here for a period of time. It's a good place. Purdue's got people that want to help. They're interested in education. They're interested in the betterment of students. And if you got all those 3 factors, I think you got a snowball's chance of making this work. So yeah.
And if I can make one comment real just quick at the end on it, that has been the ideal dream scenario for me, has been the incredible support from the provost office, from the university leadership, from the board of trustees, from our council of higher education at the state. The incredible amount of support that we've received to make this process happen in 8 months. Without all of those people, Jeannie's incredible relationships with some of them, but just in general, the incredible amount of support that we've received. Otherwise, it would never have happened in 8 months, and we would not be sitting here in the fall of 2025 with our inaugural class, and have been able to launch and do all these things because we've had to push. I mean, we've had to push
Yeah,
and
I'm
fight
sure.
and make things happen. And academia doesn't like that very much, but we've had a lot of support. We've had a ton of support from great people, and I mean that's been a blessing that I've truly enjoyed, which is just the incredible people. It's been really a lot of fun.
All right. Stay tuned for part two, coming to a theater near you after in sometime early 2026. There'll be more stories to tell, more people to bring into the fold. Purdue's graduate level sport administration, sport management program. Doctors Jeannie Boyd and Patrick Tutka, we appreciate you so much. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Brian Newbert will join us, talk a little Purdue basketball, a little bit of news this week on a huge commitment for Matt Painter's squad. Will be back in a couple minutes on Golden Black Live.
Thank you, Alan.
Yes, thank you.